Aprilaire filter into the new HVAC system that we have. As you can see, Steve is pulling out the filter in the Aprilaire component part of the containment of where the air filter actually goes. Over here to my right, just right below Chris's feet, is the actual fabricated, the newly fabricated air duct. What do you call that, Steve? Just go ahead and jump in anytime.
It's the casing.
Beats me. It's a hole. It's an air duct hole.
Well, we got to make this fit on top of that so that we can filter air through this. So
we'll be back with the second segment of our video right after this. So in order for me to get to the return air duct, one of the first things that I'm going to need to do here is to remove part of the exhaust pipe. As you can see, it's at an angle, and what we're going to do is just kind of take that off so that we can get to this part. So the exhaust pipe that comes out of the unit actually comes up through the attic and up through the roof of the house. I'm simply coming up into the attic, it's right here, just to make sure that everything is intact before we move on with removing the bottom part.
Alright, so I disconnected the exhaust pipe here at the bottom, and they had these little rings that were holding it tight. So here at the bottom, another one here, and then one more up at the top. So we disconnected those. It took a little bit of finagling, so it's already loosened quite a bit, but had to give it a pretty big tug to get it out. But as you can see, it just pops right out, and so now we're ready to move on to the next step.
Alright, so the next step is to remove the actual return air duct from the HVAC unit. And I'm going to do that by starting to just remove from the bottom and work my way up to remove this tape to see if we can get to the under part of what's actually attached to the HVAC system.
Steve, you want to tell us what you're doing here?
Yeah, we want to mate the air duct to the Aprilaire filter casing, and since these flanges are not completely flat, I'm going to bend them so that they're flat up against the filter.
Okay, so what we've done at this point is removed all of the tape, the old duct tape and metal tape that was attaching the flex air duct to the air duct cap. And now our next step is to remove the actual cap from the unit itself. Okay, as you can see, we've removed the cap from the actual HVAC unit. Now what we're going to do is take the shop vac and we're going to clean out all of the dust that's inside the unit, around the fan and around the drum, in the interior or internal part of the HVAC system.
Okay, so we dry fitted our return base here. So before tapping it in, we want to make sure it fit. And the way this is going to work, this is going to be our base. Our filter is going to sit on top, and then another piece of sheet metal will connect to the ductwork. So instead of trying to assemble it here, we're going to take it off, and we're going to assemble it off-site, and then put it on as one unit. And we're using these little metal straps that we bent, and we're actually using the pre-existing holes from the old connection points. Alright, so we've got our filter in our casing, and one of the things that we're going to do is just to remind us which way the air flows, just put an arrow on there. It's a nice little tidbit, a trick you might want to use when you're doing your own project.
Alright, so where we are in the process here, we wanted to dry fit the new air filter with the base and the cap that's attached to the HVAC system, and in doing so you can see that we've got it on top of the HVAC system, but now what we've run into is the actual exhaust pipe is making contact with the top portion of this base. So now what we're doing is we're going to see if we can move this over a couple of inches to give us the room that we need to bring it around the base and the air filter and to be able to reattach it to the HVAC system.
Alright, so we've got our system connected here, screwed in. And what Steve's doing before we apply the tape is just going to give it a little bit of cleaning, help the tape adhere to the unit, and then we're going to mount it. Okay, so we took our unit that we put together offside on the floor, as you saw earlier, and we've now secured it to the HVAC system. And we put in a few screws here at the bottom, and now we're just adding the mastic tape around the perimeter. And then also the ductwork. That's the first thing we did, is we got it up here and cut the duct to size, and then fitted over the top of the unit here. One thing you may notice is this this exhaust pipe. We did have to move it. It was in the way of the air filter. So we moved it from this hole. We had to cut a new hole in the ceiling and reattach it up in the attic. Took a little bit of time, longer than we would have liked, but it's done. It works perfectly. So we're just going to finish up the backside, and as you can see, we're almost finished, and we'll be back with the finished product in just a second.
All right, so we have completed this project today. This was the filter that we started out with. You can see it's just a little homemade job. Not a bad filter, but doesn't capture all of the pet dander and the respiratory dust in the house. So we wanted to upgrade today with an Aprilaire air filter, as you can see here. Custom fabrication of the new air duct system that goes up above and below the air filter. Air filter goes into this side, as you can see. Nice big air filter on the side, and you can hear it operating properly and running sufficiently, or running efficiently, rather. And yeah, so what started off as a couple of hours work, we're now done, and looking forward to the new air filter.